Now, another big rumor today is that Matt Patricia, the current Patriots defensive coordinator, is rumored to be the next Giants head coach. I like this, kind of. Matt Patricia has been groomed by Bill Belichick for years, and Bill Belichick gets defense. And Matt Patricia is a great defensive coach. But that doesn't mean, just because he's been around Bill Belichick, doesn't mean he has the Bill Belichick magic. But I like it. It's a good hire. It's a good, not great hire. But here's another thing that really bothers me. There are two big red flags when you tell me you want to hire Matt Patricia to be the next head coach of the New York Giants. The first one is kind of fluffy and silly. He's shown immaturity in the past. After the Patriots won the Super Bowl, Matt Patricia wore a Roger Goodell clown shirt, which I don't blame him. I mean, Roger Goodell appeared to he worked against the Patriots. If you look at it that way, I can understand Matt Patricia's perspective. However, wearing a clown shirt, that's not what a head coach does. You don't see Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, even Matt McCarthy, Mike Tomlin. None of those guys would do something like that. So that is something I think is kind of weird. I don't think a head coach in the NFL would do something like wear that Roger Goodell clown shirt. But here's a more valid and a bigger red flag to me. Matt Patricia is a defensive coach, a defensive-minded head coach. We've seen this in the past. It doesn't really work to have a defensive-minded head coach and a young quarterback. Jared Goff with Jeff Fisher didn't work. John Fox with Mitchell Trubisky in Chicago didn't work. John Fox got fired. If you're going to have Sam Darnold or Josh Rosen, I would want an offensive-minded head coach. Now, another interesting tidbit about Matt Patricia, if he's hired as the Giants head coach, we could potentially learn something. We could potentially learn two things, actually. If you're me, if I'm a guy who's worked with Bill Belichick, I know how Bill Belichick operates. I've learned he's got kind of a no BS style. This could tell me potentially that Josh Rosen is not going to New York. A guy like Bill Belichick would not mess with a guy like Josh Rosen's personality. But it's even more likely, if Matt Patricia becomes the head coach of the New York Giants, that tells me because they're hiring a defensive-minded head coach, they're not planning on drafting a young rookie quarterback. Because again, we've seen rookie quarterbacks and defensive-minded head coaches do not work well together. That tells me the Giants are actually committed to Eli Manning, which is absurd. If that's true, if the Giants are hunkering down and buying, and they're all in on Eli Manning, that's a huge, huge mistake. What have we criticized the Patriots for? Since Jimmy Garoppolo was traded, what has been the repeated theme that we have criticized the Patriots for doing? We've criticized the Patriots for, instead of making a long-term plan, instead of investing in their future with Jimmy Garoppolo, the Patriots chose the older quarterback without the long-term plan. So if you're committing, and that's what Tom Brady. I've criticized the Patriots for committing to short-term with Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time. If you're going to tell me the Giants are going to do that with Eli Manning, who's not even remotely the best quarterback of all time, who's mediocre right now, who's not a great quarterback, who hasn't played well recently, you're going to commit to him short-term and give up your number 2 overall pick and not pick one of the what appear to be franchise quarterbacks in this year's NFL draft. That would be a terrible, terrible mistake if the Giants waste the number 2 overall pick and do not pick Sam Darnold or Josh Rosen and commit to Eli Manning instead. That would be a huge mistake, and that would appear to be what's going on if the Giants hire Matt Patricia. Because again, defensive-minded head coaches do not work well with young quarterbacks. It does not work. There are a few exceptions. Again, Joe Flacco worked with the Ravens. But for the most part, if you're a defensive-minded head coach, you do not work well with young quarterbacks. That's just my thing. I think defensive-minded head coaches don't understand how quarterbacks work quite as well. They understand how to stop a quarterback, but they've never been in the head of a quarterback. They don't understand what it takes to play quarterback. It's a really tough mental position, and I don't think defensive-minded head coaches work well with rookie quarterbacks.